finals. Misfits versus Gigantti, Bren. And Bren, we have something interesting here that we haven't seen too much in Overwatch, where we are going back to a map we played earlier in the series. A unique feature of a best of 7 where Misfits, they're bringing us back to the Grand Castle of Eichenwald.
Absolutely, this is a first in many ways for Overwatch here. We're going to be seeing Eichenwald once again played on the map selection. So I mean, this is an interesting one because again, this is Misfits' choice in a matter of speaking, and now they're going to be taken back to a map that they did manage to beat Gigantti out quite convincingly. If you remember back to the series earlier today, I almost forgot it myself apparently, but they did manage to full hold them on that second stage in the Streets phase. It was a very convincing win for Misfits. But the question is, do you really want to take a team back to a map that you've already beat them on when you've given them the opportunity to mull it over, to really understand and break down what went wrong?
Well, I think yes, because it's the only map that they've won here so far. However, I think for Gigantti, if their coach has been able to get in their ear and otherwise, I think the key change they would need to make is how they approached second, where if you go back to second, the reason why Misfits was able to do so well at the very end is that they were running the 76 at the end. They were using the sight lines very much to their advantage, and though Gigantti was running a dive, they had to go in from so far, and they couldn't pressure from that distance that it didn't quite work out for them. So I am curious to see what changes we might see from the Gigantti side, because you have to change something up. You didn't do well in second before.
Precisely. I mean, it is going to be interesting to see how they adapt to this, because normally you only see these sort of adaptations across, on different days, when you do see a bit of a repeat potentially through group stages and whatnot. But this is going to be a first in Overwatch. We're going to see again Eichenwald being played once again, and we'll see how they manage to turn this one around. Gigantti, will they opt to go with these traditional Reinhardt compositions again? Will they choose to even it out a little bit, maybe run the dive composition? Because you are right, it was basically the winning moment essentially was the Soldier 76 pick, right, for Misfits. Holding onto the high ground onto the second point, Misfits could not break in, they couldn't focus down to Vic effectively, and it shut them down. Have Gigantti learned their lesson?
We're going to find out. I think that one thing that Gigantti did have an edge on is that Gigantti did play first point very convincingly. So, who knows, Bren? We might not even have to get to the Streets phase if Gigantti is simply able to have a better defense on first and full hold here. It's not outside the realm of possibility, because if you remember what we saw here, we saw the disparity between the two teams, where Gigantti was very much willing to run the Reinhardt here on first, and Misfits ran the Winston. And Swoosh oftentimes was just sort of standing back and forth like he was a Reinhardt, but he's a Winston. You're not a German man, you're a monkey. You are a scientist. And it didn't quite work out for Misfits at some of their pushes, so we'll see if Misfits has learned a little bit in terms of how to handle first compared to before.
CV, here's the thing, right? If Winston's so smart, why does he not just make the bubble invincible?
I mean, I don't know if he's discovered invincibility. What if he's not that smart, Bren? What if he's not that much of a genius inventor?
He goes on
what if he's a hack?
about he's a scientist, okay? He's a talking monkey, hyper intelligent, but I don't know, I'm not convinced. He needs to show up with a few more adventures before I give him that title. But
he needs to turn up, Bren. He needs to
turn up. The exact same composition being ran by Misfits once again that they did in the past. Vic on this Junkrat going to be leading it in, just disjointing the enemies for seeing what he can do damage-wise, and he is absolutely pumping it in. But going to be meeting it, trading out as Swoosh does fall. But Zupe once again will pick up another kill here onto Big Goose for them. Point being played already, 2 ticks for Misfits. Zupe popping off all over the place. Zapis going to be soaking up a lot of that damage actually, but Logix is there with the Discord orbs placed onto him, and they're going to be finding the kills, and subsequently they are going to get this cap as well in a very rapid fashion.
Very good stuff there from Misfits, and better showing there from Logix, who's definitely been more hit or miss in the series than I think he was in online play. But now Misfits, they get through first rather quickly, and they have momentum here as they go into second. Gigantti, you do have a swap off here where Linkser doesn't want to run the 76 in second, which is a little strange. I mean, you see 76 run by a lot of teams on the second point, but Linkser, he wants to go in for the dive. Gigantti, they are just simply all in with this dive defense, and we'll see how it works out as Misfits get through this first game.
Yeah, they push the card a decent degree. Logix forced to go back to the help of his team, but oh boy, Shaz again turning up, brings down Logix across the map, sends the orbs flying. He's going to bring him down. That's going to set Gigantti up nicely. Zapis just hiding around the corner. Now we're going to see a sound barrier committed by Misfits. It's going to connect onto a good couple of them. Boot back though, Manhattan can't quite get the kill he's looking for. In fact, Linkser is going to be falling as well. So Misfits are slamming this home slowly but surely, just sieging into them with this damage from Tivik on the Junkrat.
Oh my word, Gigantti, they dove in, but they really wish they didn't. Just getting absolutely manhandled in that fight. Tvik controlling space into the back line, making Junkrat work here on second. And Misfits, they know they have the edge. Not only are they going to control the doorways here, but they're going to let loose the Riptire. Tvik, a little bit parkour, and he's looking for anything as the tire rolls in, and it gets the D-Mech.
Yeah, that's actually massive now as well, because it's going to take one of these players out of the fight. Zappis is not going to be there trying to push out of here. He's going to have to try and reset into this, but now we're going to see ults being used. Gigantti going to be using that Transcendence, seeing what they can do. Swoosh, however, has brought down Zappis, and now it's Misfits' time to strike back. They're going to be healing up the majority of their teammates, finding a few picks as well. Shaz still trying to get a kill or two in the back, and Fraggy has found an opening. He's prodded for the weaknesses and does manage to bring down Zube.
Wait, the point!
Nobody's on the point!
Oh!
They focused down the back lines, and nobody was concentrating on whether or not their point was going to get captured. And Misfits, they've got 5 minutes to work with here.
In defense of Gigantti, everyone that was diving the back line died anyways, so didn't really matter. Although I guess if they finished their kills, it would have been a little bit more embarrassing. But in any case, the castle door has been broken down with tons of time left here. Misfits looking like this is in fact their home, but Gigantti, they're going to drop the barrier and look for a bit of stability as they just roll over Misfits on this defense.
Yeah, so Misfits, they didn't actually end up using any ults in that fight, the entire fight itself. And now we are going to see a few switches up. I think Manhattan now going to be going to the Zarya, which is understandable. Swoosh also on the Reinhardt. They're going to be moving into them with this composition. Very successful so far from what we've seen and pushing into here. And they've got 4.5 minutes to really do some damage. Manhattan, if he gets some charge into him, self-destruct, is going to help them. Going to be bubbling themselves up as well. Fraggy, however, was in the back lines. He found a kill. Let's see as well if they can find any more. The tire by Tvik does get the D-Mech. Going to be setting his team up for a bit of victory here. Gigantti could be caught off guard.
And Tvik, constant value with the tires. Good flank there that just set things up. And no matter what here, Junkrat has been arguably Tvik's best hero all day, where every fight he's consistently getting something. And again, just building the Riptires up very quickly. So Gigantti, they're going to get thrown back here. They're down to what's really going to be their last fight. If they lose one more fight cleanly, Bren, that's going to be it.
Manhattan charged up, ready and waiting, just pumping in the damage, trying to build up that Graviton surge, and now the rest of his team is up here. Fraggy and Zappis make the switch over now. They're going to be running, trying to get this mirror comp going, but see if they can find a kill. Tvik ends up entering it again. Linksa falling. That sets things up very nicely. Misfits now using that Transcendence to see if they can secure the fight.
Misfits full control of the fight right now. Swoosh onto the Reinhardt. Don't see him on that very often, but making it even harder to poke them down. And Gigantti, they're going the full stall here. Linksa says, let's make things a little bit chilly. Going to the May, but they don't have much time to get onto the point here. Gigantti, they cannot waste time. They are coming back out, and Tvik is out of the fight early. That is a huge pickup, and that Graviton does nothing.
Oh no,
what is that grab?
That's a bit tragic if you ask me, ZP. That's the classic zoning grab, as they call it in the industry, but it's not particularly effective in the slightest. And I mean, Manhattan, he's just wasted one of the most powerful ultimates in the game with that one. And Gigantti, they've had an opening because of it. They couldn't get the finish up here. Misfits did not connect the players they were looking for, and I can understand the sort of thought process behind Manhattan throwing it out on the one side. He wanted to try and essentially trap them up so they couldn't contest the point, but he gambled on the wrong door. Gigantti just ended up going out the left-hand side instead.
If Manhattan was on a game show right now, you just hear like the failure Horneters like, I'm sorry. The people you're looking for, they're in door number 1, but Manhattan, if nothing else, he can get some redemption. He's building up the next ultimate rather quickly, but here's Riptire. Tvik looking for a victim and finds it. Zap is going to fall down here pretty early. Unfortunately for Misfits, they lose 2 before that tire even does its work, and that's going to mean that they have to reset. Yeah. Last point of Ike involved, not all that dissimilar to the last point of an Assault map.
Again, no, Zupe, he gets an entry kill onto Linksa. Tvik follows it up onto David. This is big, but the Earth Shatter into the back. Fraggy tries to connect the kills, but he laid down the Earth Shatter. It didn't matter. Tvik ends up picking 3 kills up using those concussion mines, and now they're rolling it forward. There's no bodies to try and contest this one. The cart so far forward. Linksa has to move on to the point, uses the Blizzard, lays it down to try and crowd control them up. David, meanwhile, has brought down Swoosh, and now Team Gigantti can roll back in. They're using the Transcendence to heal themselves up. Logix is still in the back line. He's going to get shielded up, so he is quite happy healing himself back up. Manhattan, however, will fall. So Gigantti just get the defense in a nick of time there. Linksa actually making the switch to May. Interestingly, a little bit of information as well about Linksa. May is actually his favorite hero.
You know what? I can understand that. I mean, he is from Finland. It gets pretty cold up there. And May, that's a hero that's not really a stranger to the cold. But now Misfits. 2 big control ultimates up. backed up by a Riptire, and that Riptire, it's already out. The Graviton is in, the Riptire flanking around, going to the back line, and that's 2 ultimates just to bring down the crazy burly Viking known as Fraggy. I don't know if that was worth for Misfits.
Yeah, this is still actually a good situation for Gigantti. Big Goose is holding on to this sound barrier, but Links are falling is going to set things up now. Misfits moving in, Earthshatter laid down, but Zappis, he dodges it, he blocks it with his own barrier. He's not going to get brought down in the slightest, and now they come back in with the sound barrier, connects one to 4 of these players. Misfits, however, want to be laying in the damage. They've got the Transcendence there, but a great Graviton by Gigantti. Zappis lays it into them, picks it up onto all 4 targets, and they're going to be absolutely melted, shredded. 30 seconds remaining here, ZP, for Misfits to make some plays.
A consistent theme that we've brought up during the cast, that the desk was bringing up as well, is that Misfits has not been using their ultimates correctly. That was your prime example.
Yep.
They threw so many control ultimates into nothing. Where, okay, you throw your grab and kill Fraggy, great. You can get so much more. Tavic's got more on solo tires. But now they're down to their final 13 seconds, Bren, here. This Castle defense on the verge of being successful as Swoosh gets blocked right out.
Such an old school strategy, just trying to wall them in, and the players desperately trying to get onto the point. Zebasai shielded up. He might just be able to touch it for just a moment to get the overtime coming on. They're on it, TP. Don't you worry about them, lads. They're not going to be pulling any sort of mischiefs, and now the Blizzard comes out to play. Linksa lays it down once again, but now the Riptire is a last-ditch effort, but it's getting frozen up and eventually brought down as well. Linksa with the headshot into Logic's overtime, finding its way down just the last few moments. Misfits desperate to try and turn it around, but Gigantti are getting the spawn as Shaz is back in the fight. Only a few players now remaining, ZP.
It's coming down to the wire here. We're in overtime, and the Misfits are getting mowed down. Shaz onto the 76, and it's Zupe here, just trying to buy a little bit of time. Invincible while Transcendence is out. The supports just desperately trying to make some time. And in fact, you get Logic's back here towards the end, but there's not a lot Misfits can do here. They're getting mopped up, and the castle will not be broken.
There you have it. You're going to see a nice little defense there by Gigantti. And on a map that they had a particularly poor showing earlier on. It was Misfits' only map that they've won in this series so far. But we'll see now if they can turn it around now, potentially turning this away and converting it into a win here in the grand finals of the EU Contenders. Misfits versus Gigantti. It's been one hell of a series so far. It's only going to get better now as we look to see. There's Swoosh, the man himself, just stroking his monitor a little bit. I don't know what's going on there. It's not a pet, lad. You just need to leave it alone.
You know what? You don't know that. He actually, he takes good care of his monitor.
Does your monitor talk to you? Is that what's happening here?
Yes, the monitor actually, the monitor is the one in control. The monitor tells me what to do.
You might want to see somebody about that, ZV. I don't know why again, I'm not a medical expert by any means, but
it's fine. You're the one who's wrong.
So here we have it.
Let's just remind people here what's at stake for this final round. Going into this is championship point for Gigantti, where if Gigantti is able to breach the castle here, Bren, if they're able to just finish out the map, they will be your EU Contenders Grand Final champions. However, it's worth noting that the last time they played this map earlier in the series, they weren't even able to get through point B.
Yeah.
Do you think they've learned from their mistakes?
I feel like they have to. You know, Gigantti, we know what they're capable of as a team. We know that we've seen it throughout this series, already leading in the map score massively ahead. In fact, you know, they have turned this around. This is a matchup that everyone was looking forward to, and Misfits were looking, you know, unbeatable throughout the group stages of Contenders. To anyone who was watching quite closely, you know, they only dropped 2 maps in the group stages across those 6 weeks, and now they've ended up losing a lot more in the playoffs. They've turned it down to a degree. They haven't been playing as well as they might have been when they were playing on the online sort of section of this tournament, but now Gigantti's turn to attack. Again, running this Reinhardt-Zarya combination, they're going to see if they can try and take it away from Misfits. But Misfits, again, sticking to what they know and love. Tavik on that Junkrat has worked out for them in the past. Can they repeat it?
Well, certainly I think Tavik having a good Junkrat performance would be one way that they seal this map in a convincing fashion. But Gigantti right now, using Fraggy as their shield, moving in. Swoosh gonna have to back out here early on. An opening for Gigantti to land more poke damage that Linkser is gladly taking. This lets him get onto the point. Swoosh gonna counter engage back in, and oh my goodness, as an early tire, that's just as quickly taken out. Linkser saving his team as Gigantti effortlessly is gonna roll through point A.
Excellent start for Gigantti here. They're gonna be winning it just off the back of their initial push. 3 minutes, and they're capping it up. They're gonna have plenty of time now to work their way in. But this is where you got to start asking the questions, because last time we saw them on Iconvolt against Misfits, Misfits managed to full hold them. They had the defense worked out in their favor. They knew what to run, and Right now, they're going to be seeing if they can turn it around. Can they make it work once again? Look at this, Misfits going for these aggressive forward hold, but this time, Gigantti are ready.
I really like what we're seeing from Linkser here, where Linkser is staying on the 76. He hasn't gone to the Genji yet. Now, maybe part of that is the fact that he almost has attack visor, but look at the control that Gigantti has here, where they don't always have to dive, when they have this power from the back line. It's utterly destroying Misfits right now when they tried to dive in, and they have a much better position than they did the last time around earlier in the series.
Gigantti now have the high ground advantage as well. They can hold a little bit more forward. They've got the Graviton Surge, almost the Earth Shatter as well, so a lot of these crowd control ults, and look at that! It's a massive Graviton at that, and they've got the damage. Davin lays in the post bomb. Zappis with the right clicks, overwhelming for them, and they are going to get a team wipe right off the back of it. Only 2 ultimates used for that one, and they've still got Fraggy's own Earth Shatter available to them.
This is enormous. Gigantti is using tank ultimates so much better than Misfits right now, and that's a prime example where they catch them off guard. It's a beautiful grab with even better follow through. And Gigantti, they still have their support ultimates in reserve here. They can fight Misfits power for power as the payload is going uncontested right now through the second point.
Moving up now, Misfits have gained the high ground once again. They've rotated and pushed Gigantti onto the bridge, and now they want to engage into them. They are going to find a kill onto Linkser, but the Earth Shatter by Fraggy is laid down. He gets boot back before he can get the charge off, and no kills are going to be following up off the back of this one. However, Gigantti doubling down, using that sound barrier, but answered by Misfits Transcendence. They're going to be meeting them man for man here in this fight.
They're fighting it man for man, as you mentioned, but now Linkser is going to the Genji, where I don't know if you need to do this, given how well the soldier is working, but this fight still might not be lost by Gigantti. They're getting the clamp they need. Davin just dancing his way around the battlefield, but it's going to be a dance of doom right now between Logix and Davin. But Davin, he has the support needed. Logix is going to fall, and Gigantti, they might be breaching this wall.
They're moving forward at a brisking place right now already. They have the pulse bomb available. Davin are just holding on to it to Vic. However, has the Riptire. Now he's going to be unleashing it, looking for options, but Gigantti, they play it intelligently. They back off, wait for the teammates, wait for the tire as well. They want to be trying to bring it down, but you never know where it's coming from. It's a bit like something out of a horror movie. You just never know where this tire is going to be coming, but Tavik does not get what he's looking for with it. Now Gigantti, they're grouping up, they're ready, they're waiting, they're trying to build up their ultimates because Zappis is dangerously close now to this Graviton Surge.
I would like to see Tavik swap over to the 76. That's what worked out well for them before. Gigantti, they're still all in on the dive, especially now that Linkser is on the Genji. Davin is going to be the distraction to the back. Linkser is going to be diving from the front, but this time it's more effective. They caught Zupe. He was a bit out of position. Fraggy, though, ends up falling, and Misfits very good at just disengaging and playing around their gate here, and they're going to take this fight rather easily.
Yeah, a lot of that was Logix as well, just staying alive in that fight, getting the picks necessary for his team to succeed. And whilst it was looking good, bringing down Zupe early on, they dove into the back lines. Unfortunately, they couldn't quite just seal the deal. And now they do manage to get a defense, so not all is lost here. And we're in the same position where we saw Gigantti actually fail to push it in last time. This is where they had problems in the past. And Tavik keeps booking up these Riptires, going to be looking for opportunities, just going for a little bit of a ride, eating a bit of damage. They know exactly where he is, but 1 second remaining, needs to get a kill.
Oh. They had so much damage onto that tire too, but in the end, they don't have a long-range option. This is what really hurt Gigantti the first time around, and this is their plan, I guess, to go forward here. If they were running a 76, if Linkser was still on it, they were doing well with the 76. They were effectively winning every fight. But since going to the Genji, they have to dive a lot more aggressively into this Misfits team, and it hasn't been as good of a look for them. However, Bren, Dragon Blade can't equalize all things. Linkser wasn't able to find a good Dragon Blade last time in this situation, but it's a new game, it's a new day. We'll see what he can do now.
Self-destruct into the backline. Misfits going to be using the Samar as well, and that is go time. Linkser unleashes the blade, brings down to Vic. Gigantti want to cement their lead, putting in all this damage into the players. Is there going to be any cleanup? Still, players remaining alive for the time being. Zupe falling, gets dived upon by Davin. They're going to be taking him out of the fight once again. However, Swoosh with the Primal Rage, he's trying to basically leap onto Linkser. He's getting a howl pack, and Linkser Fire just juked him around the corners. He didn't know what was going on. Absolutely escaping death there, and then finding the picks now, ZP. A minute remaining, it's looking wonderful for Gigantti.
It's looking really good, and now, let's not forget, they're gonna breach this wall. Gigantti, 1 point away from being your EU champions.
So close. 2 minutes. That's what they got to work with, and they're laying in the damage. They're not slowing down the momentum in the slightest. Davin He's got the pulse bomb ready and waiting for this one. And a great pick by Shaz. He's been doing this all tournament long. Really one of the star players as well for Gigantti. And off the back of that, they can easily start to work their magic into this point.
And Shaz's going to use the damage there to fuel his Transcendence. Uses it as Gigantti moves in. Doesn't actually get as much from it as he would like, but still, Gigantti in firm control right now. One fight away, Bren. Misfits, they're out of mulligans. They can't afford to lose anything, but with Davin falling, Tvik, he's going to be in the zone here. This is a very good area for a jungler.
Yeah, they're going to have to back off here, but it might just try and get a kill onto Swoosh. They're just rotating around, just laying in the damage as well, but Tvik is still there. The mine is going to finish up Linksa, and it will mean that Gigantti, they have to reset this. A minute remaining, ZP. Are Misfits still into this? It's looking doable for them. They've got ultimates to use, but Gigantti, they're working towards that Graviton Surge, and that just could be the finale.
Misfits, they're in a very, very good position here in terms of support ultimates. Shaz might not get the Transcendence up before the end of the game. However, Gigantti, they can play it a little bit slow. One good Graviton, as you mentioned, could very well set it up. Fraggy, he's going to open with the Primal Rage, and Tempest, he's going to build this Grav up and fight. If Gigantti can avoid losing anyone, and Tempest, he throws out the Grav early.
Graviton surge into the back line, they've got the damage for it, and unfortunately the Transcendence was just a little bit late. Davin, using that Pulse Bomb, will bring down Logix now as he was trapped up inside of it. Now need to try and bring down Tvik, trying to focus him down, and they have done it. Gigantti so close to winning out the grand finals here of EU Contenders. So close now. Davin popping up all over the goddamn place, gets the D-Mech, trying to support his team here, ZP.
It's close here for Gigantti, but Logix is still alive. Tvik back up into the fray. Final 15 seconds and Davin falls. Misfits on the verge of holding on here. Gigantti, they're so close to victory, so close to the championship. They're gonna drop the barrier and go in for one final push as Shaz goes to the summer.
This is it, last ditch effort. We see Logix, he's brought down Fraggy though. Tvik, he turns up, the overtime ticking down. They need to get bodies onto this car, but they just can't find it. And Misfits, they hold on. They are one step closer. They want to go for the reverse sweep. They do not want to go out. Just like that, and well, we've got a few more games on our hands, potentially now moving into this. And Misfits, they've got an option, they've got an opening, they've got a glimmer of hope here.
They do, and if nothing else from Misfits, we've learned that they're really good at Eichenwald.
Yeah.
Eichenwald is accounting for both of their map wins right now in the series. However, now Gigantti gets to choose the next map, so it won't be Misfits territory. Gigantti can go to something that they are more comfortable on. And I can assure you, it won't be Eichenwald for the third time.
Oh yeah, no, but again, like Misfits, winning another map is critical here, so we're going to be moving into this. But they are now with the disadvantage, you know, it's going to be Gigantti with that next map pick. They've got the options, they've got a lot of work to do here, and it's going to be going to another familiar map. The next map we're going to be seeing is most likely going to be a Temple of Anubis. I've received word, but we'll soon find out now as we roll it out. But Gigantti, you can see just trying to warm up, using those hand warmers, just working it up, just trying to warm up. They were complaining. The Finns were worried about the cold hands. They were in their shuttle on the way here. They were like, oh, we can't get our warm-up up.
Really, I think what we've learned here is that the hand warmers are going to multiply over time, where they'll just continue adding on hand warmers until there's just a stack of them. But they'll have the toastiest hands in the game. However,
I'm pretty sure this is the second time we've talked about hand warmers so far.
It's fine. It's a key part of the Gigantti story, Bren.
Yeah.
We would be remiss if we didn't tell you about it. Temple Anubis, though, now they're going to the battleground, which, of course, Gigantti was very good at. They had a great defense, but probably worth noting that I don't know if Misfits is going to make the mistake of trying to run Widow for second point the entire time.
Yeah, so I imagine we are going to see some changes, at least in compositions for these teams, because if they start running similar stuff again, even Gigantti struggled on Temple of Anubis. They were running that solo support, they were running the Doomfist sort of Reaper composition alongside the Tracer. It wasn't really working in their favor. And the same situation with Misfits at the end of the day. Again, Tvik on the Widowmaker, like you mentioned, CP, and they were running Logix as well in the close quarters using that Reaper, but they couldn't quite find the damage. They couldn't execute the strategy that they had in mind for this game. And well, see, I imagine Misfits, they've got a few changes in mind. They know exactly what went wrong, at least. But Temple of Anubis, again, was incredibly close between these two teams. It could still be anyone's game.
Very well could be anyone's game. And don't forget, assault maps are probably some of the most variable in the entire game, where all it takes is one good attack to put things in your favor. And though Gigantti looked very good beforehand, maybe even if they did run the Widowmaker, that would be the time where Tvik did get the 2 pickoffs that put things over the top for Misfits. So you never really know with assault maps. I'd say they're more of a wild card than anything else. And Misfits very well could take this and force a final map number 7.
Well, Temple of Anubis being the map choice here. Again, most likely going to be seeing the Sombra coming out to play as well, and most likely different sort of strategies being employed, at least I would hope so. Probably still going to be seeing a bit of Widowmaker, I imagine, on the first point. It's worked out reasonably well for both these teams, apart from Tavik when he did get reflected and headshot in the face by Linkser. But other than that, it was we have been seeing a lot of Widowmaker, and I imagine we probably are going to be seeing it again. But reminder, this was won by Gigantti. This was their map they picked a little bit earlier on against Misfits. They didn't want to take them to Volskaya. And again, taking them to Temple of Anubis, they want to be trying to seal the deal here and now. Gigantti are one map away from being the winners of the EU Grand Finals. Will they be able to do it on Temple of Anubis? We're going to find out.
And don't forget, they won this map earlier in the series. All they have to do is replicate their performance, and they will be your EU champion. So Gigantti definitely working with a bit of an edge, if recent history is any indicator. However, the gates are open. Gigantti's on the way. Let's see what Zappis can do here on this Widowmaker as he looks to take the field.
Here we have it. Once again, teams rolling out. This time Gigantti going to be in the attack for the first time, searching for a headshot or two. See? Oh, the prediction! Logix is going to meet his maker. He gets brought down. Tavik is going to equalize it by leaping into the backlines, and Zappis will be brought down. But, I mean, flashy plays, it's demoralizing at the end of the day, isn't it? When you think you've got him in your sights, but not quite.
I think it's worth noting the key difference there between the attack Gigantti had last time, where Zappis was able to critically wound Swoosh.
Yeah.
A wounded Winston early on is actually sometimes more important than a full kill onto a Tracer, because Misfits did have more control in contesting that Nook on the left. Gigantti, they're going to take the same approach again. They're daring Misfits to go at them, but Misfits, they're going to have the EMP up for this next fight. We could be looking at a very different sequence of defense here for this Misfit squad.
Yeah, so we'll see what they can do with this one. It's been built up in a pretty rapid fashion, and now the point's going to start to get played. Heal's coming in from Shaz long range, trying to keep his team alive. Bio-Grenade is going to be doing a decent amount of healing as well. So far, a lot of damage into the Vic, already on about 1 HP. Switch Strike just about missed, but they do get a DMEC onto Manhattan. That's going to set things up nicely.
Early DMEC definitely helping out. Linkser just building up the blade here in the back, getting consistent damage, but gets a nasty case of tinnitus. Taken down by Zebosai. Misfits going to drop the beat, and they're going to continue holding on here. They did, though, have to invest quite a bit of resources into that hold.
Yeah, they doubled down on that quite hard. And they're in a situation now where if they lose this next team fight, it's going to be a bit of a troubling scenario, because Big Goose has his sound barrier. If Gigantti now end up winning this next engagement, they win the first checkpoint, they're going to be rolling into this second checkpoint, not only with an ult advantage, but with the momentum of the back of just winning it. So we'll see if Gigantti can do it. You see Big Goose, the Speed Goose being used expertly, and Linkser, it's the Nano Blade. That's what they want to be committing into this. He finds 1 kill onto Zebosai. Now the Primal Rage being used by Swoosh just to stall it out a little bit longer. Still, are they going to be able to get the kill to Vic? Dangerously low. And Linkser ends up just doving him as he tries to escape.
Doving, definitely the word of the day there, Bren, as Gigantti. It's not the cleanest fight. It's not the absolute best Nano Blade, but it's enough. It's good enough to throw Misfits off guard. It's enough to take this first point. And Misfits are going to have to reset and go back. And Zupe very wisely holds on to the EMP, does not throw it into the abyss. It just wouldn't have done anything there.
All right, so interesting question here. I mean, Gigantti, if you look at the composition they're running ZP, we saw it didn't work out particularly in their favor, but now they're running Linkser on the Doomfist. They had a bit more success with this. Zappis is going to be switching as well over to the Diva just to reset, get back inside of his mech. And they're going to be running this into Misfits still. Zupe holding on to this EMP to Vic with the Dragon Blade, which means that Misfits have options to defend this next fight. But Gigantti now going to be searching for an opportunity. If they can get a one-shot, that's a big pick. They've taken the EMP out of the fight.
That means there's no EMP whatsoever. It's huge. To Vic, though, with the blade of his own, gonna dash right through, and Misfit says, collective sigh of relief. Okay, guys, we're good. We're fine.
That could have been a lot worse there for Misfits. Absolutely, if they did not dive at the right time onto Gigantti, they recognized that there was a bit of a weakness in terms of their positioning. They found the spot at least, and that is the weakness of Team Gigantti's composition in terms of the fact that they're only running a Lucio as a healer. They're going to run into those sustained problems that we talked about earlier, and really just being abused by Misfits fully. The damage being put in from them, and again, marvellously to Vic, he's moved over to the Junkrat. We're seeing, once again, if he can pump out that damage necessary.
Linkser onto the Doomfist, looking for the early pickoffs. Really isolating the Diva here, going for the D-Mech. Is he going to get it? He does. Final Rocket Punch, going to take him out of the mech. But he gives up his life for it. Gigantti already in the hole here early on, and truth be told here, Bren, if you think back to Gigantti's offense back the first time around on Anubis, it actually was not that particularly intimidating. It took them to the final push, and it required a miracle pickoff by Linkser onto Tvik, followed up by work into the back to deal with the Sombra. That's not something you can really rely on. And he's not even on the Genji right now, he's on the Doomfist. I don't know if this is actually the most convincing of offensive setups for Gigantti. And the idea that Misfits can hold for another 3.5 minutes, actually reasonably likely.
So the Doomfist still gives you options in terms of getting that initial pick, because the Rocket Punch, you get that on a 200 HP target, they are just going to instantly go down if they hit the wall. So it's that damage that they're really looking for. Like the game plan of Gigantti is to get that pick using Linkser. But Shaz also, you can see, working his way into the back line, just seeing if he can basically peel at least one of the players back. They force out the sound barrier now. And I think even if Gigantti end up losing this team fight, as long as they don't use any ultimates here, they're still going to be in a good position now to take this next one, as they do have the sound barrier themselves.
They're going to have a barrier themselves, but again, you always have that interplay between your Sombra and your Lucio, where an EMP is an incredibly direct hard counter to a sound barrier. So Big Goose really can't feel comfortable in dropping the barrier early on. It's not necessarily going to work out well for Gigantti. In any case, Gigantti, they are going to reset here, and I guess for them, their win condition, they hope that Linkser is able to find Zupe again, but that's not really something you can rely on. That's maybe 1 in every 10 to 15 pushes type of thing, and they're down to like 4 pushes at the max.
Yeah, they need to hunt down for him, and Linkser now going to be leading in with the Meteor Strike. If you can get at least 1 pick, it's going to be pretty good for them. Lays it down, does a decent amount of damage, but Shaz also brings down Zebasai. However, Tvik is there, ready and waiting. Zap is taken out of the fight again. Linkser, though, with the beatdown, takes out Manton. However, his team have fallen. They're not going to be able to hold on to this point.
And again, you have this sort of standoff between Zupe and Big Goose. No EMP used, no barrier used. And generally speaking, those sorts of standoffs, they do favor the defense. And also, you gotta deal with Tvik. Tvik has been here in the back, working the Junkrat. It's way too much damage for an enclosed area to not take him out. The reason why Gigantti was able to take this point the last time around is that Tvik died early. He needs to die early again for Gigantti to really have a chance, and they've already swapped up the Doomfist here for the final moment.
Oh, look at this already. Tvik, he recognizes the threats that are coming onto the back lines. Fraggy gets the sound barrier connected onto him, but he's already brought very, very low. Now the Riptide going to be used, but we will find the kill onto Fraggy. Fraggy was desperately just pounding away that tire, seeing if he could bring it down. Fortunately, not good enough. He will fall, and again, Misfits are holding on. About a minute remaining now for Gigantti to try and make a push attempt, and they invested every single ultimate they had into that last fight.
Gigantti, they are in a world of hurt in more ways than one. They're going to have to deal with the sound barrier at the very least. Very likely EMP of Zupe is able to build it up in time. Final minute left here, and Bren, Gigantti doesn't even have a tick yet. That is a rough position to be in, because it means that their best case scenario would likely be a draw. As Logic's right now, he's Batman, surveying the Raptors.
I love that, just waiting on the high ground, waiting for the opportunities, but Gigantti now are moving into the back. They bring down Zebasai, good opening for them. That means no sound barrier now for Misfits. They want to lead this one in, but however, Manhattan has managed to bring down Shaz. Still, Fraggy's looking for the opportunities, but Tvik gets a kill with his passive mayhem there. Fraggy ends up falling, and now Gigantti, they've got a bit of a foothold onto this point. Misfits forced to use this sound barrier just to defend it, and they aren't going to be able to get the respawners in necessary to stop them from pushing in and assaulting.
Important to note here, Zupe still has the EMP, and he has no reason to save it now, Brent. The last fight will absolutely be the last fight of this round, and Zupe, he has 2 missions here. 1, not get picked off early. 2, drop an EMP. If he does that, should be a clean Misfits fight, and the EMP is out, and the first pick is theirs.
Yeah, they get Big Goose. That's the 1 kill they needed. The overtime is starting to burn. Tvik now going to be using that Riptide, looking for the opportunities, but unfortunately, the entirety of Gigantti has fallen. And we're going to see Misfits able to full hold them here on the second checkpoint, not letting them get a single tick.
This is very, very good for Misfits. The odds now that they end up bringing this to a map number 7, they're great.
Yeah.
Because realistically speaking, the idea that you would have a full hold by Gigantti, while not impossible, it's not very likely given the history of Anubis in Overwatch. It's not a point that is frequently full held. Certainly not against a team of the caliber of Misfits.
Well, we'll see if they can turn this one around. And remember this, to really make this work for them, if they want to try and at least bring it to a draw, they've got to full hold them again. They've got to return this once again and see if they can get that full hold in action and try and bring it to a draw. If not, try and stop them from capping up that first checkpoint. That's really the win condition now for Gigantti coming into this. But Misfits have bought themselves such a secure line of victory here because it's not particularly hard to get 33% on Anubis. All you need is one clean team fight most of the time, and you can just cap that up very easily.
You can, and now for Gigantti, this is interesting where you have to wonder if this is where you take a gamble and you run something a little bit more off meta for this first point defense to give yourself a bigger chance at it. I don't think they will, but this is where things like Symmetra or Mercy or things that you don't very often see in comp, but in theory sort of have a high risk, high reward for an extra ability to full hold.
Yeah.
You have to sometimes consider that here for a first point, because if you run it business as usual, you're probably not going to get the first point full hold.
The old Renegade strat, as we like to call it.
The old Renegade. Sometimes you hit him with the old Renegades.
You know, you just gotta bust out Irisa, bust out the Symmetra, the Torp. You know, you gotta just go ham with those builders. Just really try and get that solid defense. I mean, it almost worked for Renegades multiple times. They almost did it, but wasn't quite enough in the end for them.
You can put that Renegade's tombstone for Contenders when they got eliminated. Hey guys, it almost worked.
It almost worked.
It almost worked.
We took to calling it the Holy Trinity, but it just never really ended up working at all. But we're gonna see now Misfits moving in, but wow, that dive, Tvik absolutely melting. And Gigantti just running into them with this aggression now. However, they do have everyone still alive. In fact, Linkser gets ran down with a Tesla cannon. He went aggressively with his Swift Strike, and it was off cooldown, so he couldn't escape using it again.
No, he couldn't, and Misfits, they're gonna make this look relatively easy here. Gigantti, again, they're running a dive defense on first, and it's very difficult to get a full hold here on first, or even just win the first fight when you're running the Sombra. So, Gigantti, best case scenario for them now here would be a draw.
Absolutely. Linkser somehow, again, another kill onto Tvik. I like to imagine that was a deflect kill once again, because he seems to be pulling these out of nowhere. I don't know if Tvik's learned his lesson yet, but you're not supposed to shoot the Genji when he starts waving his blades around like a maniac.
Really?
Yeah. Well, this is top tips from Brennon playing Genji, okay?
The master of the Brenji.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. Again, nobody wants to see that. I mean,
oh, people have seen it, and there's not enough bleach in the world. Let me tell you. As Misfits moving their way in, the barrier is out. They lost Logics early on, and Gigantti definitely looking strong here on this defense. And I gotta say here, Bren, how long does Tvik stay on the Widowmaker this time around?
I mean, I feel like they're going to go for the exact same strat again and see if it works. But they do have a lot more time to work with here, 6.5 minutes. If it starts to go poorly, they can just switch off. It's not a problem. You know, I imagine I'd like to see it within... They can run it for a short while, maybe the first half of this, and if he can get a lucky pickoff, because that's the aim of the game here for Misfits, is that if Tvik ends up getting a kill onto any of these targets, Misfits then have the opportunity to just dive into them and then try and take the team fight off the back of this. They are just going to wait, I imagine, for his infrared sight to just come online and get a bit of vision as well, get that advantage going for them, but you see David just teasing Tvik just every now and then, popping his head around the corner.
Those are a lot of missed shots. And meanwhile, Misfits going to deal with Linkser's Dragon Blade into the corner, and again, they're fighting in an area where Tvik can't even give them support from his Widowmaker, and it's just baffling to me, Bren. Why wouldn't you take the fight straight up the middle if you have a Widowmaker? Why would you bring the fight to the one area where he's not going to be able to shoot anyone?
So it's mainly because I believe he's scared of the Gigantti roster, because if you look at how many heroes they're running that can actually contest him. Not only do you have Linkser, Zappis, Fraggy, but also Shaz as well. Shaz can relocate up there and really just mess with him in all sorts of ways. So it's hard, because this is the reason why Widow's not ran on the second point, because you're very susceptible when you grapple hook up to that high ground.
But my point is they could go up the middle here. If they go up the middle, Tvik where he's at can support anyone that's dealing with, say, swoosh and point blank range. When Misfits goes to the left corner, there's no line of sight to be had. However, Misfits, they dive in. Going to be met here by the sound barrier from Gigantti. No kills here just yet. Logic's gonna get nano boost onto the Reaper. Some old school shenanigans here, but here comes self-destruct over the top. Space will be made for Gigantti, and yet there's still a bit of trouble.
Yeah, still trying to find these picks. However, Gigantti definitely brought down the support duo of Misfits, so off the back of that, there's going to be no more realistic, no more utility. Davin is absolutely destroying them all over the place. Tvik ended up going down in the back lines as well, so Another successful defense for Gigantti. Another D-suit onto Manhattan. They're just going to stall him out. And
oh, no.
Oh, no. This is tragic. The boops. Oh, no. It's heartbreaking. Oh,
I know how this movie ends. Oh,
Fraggy.
no. Body blocks. Body
Look at
blocks.
this. Look at these moves. Unbelievable.
Okay, so now if this were a pub game, the courses of Widow Please Switch would have been heard. And Tvik, he's relented.
Yeah.
He has stopped being Widow main. He is onto the Tracer, and doing so this time when Misfits actually has time on the clock. So this is a good change for Misfits, I would say.
I wish the Widowmaker mains in my rank games would switch when we asked them to.
Well, that's why Tvik is in the Contenders finals, Bren. He just made that key switch up.
Exactly. And now this Tracer could be the difference for them to try and take this fight. They're already running down Lynx, so Lynx are using that switch strike to try and escape out of it. But David brings down Swoosh. Unfortunately, he was very unprotected. Still the 1v1 trying to be taken here. Tvik 22 HP, getting ran down to Shurikens. Lynxer will find him. And again, Gigantti, they hold off. Misfits now brought down to 3.5 minutes.
Misfits brought down the 3.5, and again, for Misfits, it's just where do they get the momentum? Because Shaz is going to have a EMP up for the next fight, and it's just difficult, Brent, for where they're at.
It's going to be working now to see if they can build up a bit of ultimate charge. Manhattan switching over to Zarya, much needed. I feel like they needed to switch something up to Tvik, but now the attempt comes in from Gigantti. They move into the back line. Already Logic's trying to put in this damage. The soundbar used by Gigantti. No casualties on either side as both sides use their soundbars to try and take this fight. In fact, now the EMP will be used by Gigantti, and they should be able to just find these targets. However, Manhattan comes back in with the shields, trying to keep Zebasai alive. Now Swoosh as well. Following up, ZP, this is looking much better.
It's looking very good for them. They only need one tick. There's not a big buffer here for Gigantti. They weren't able to get any progress of their own. Misfits still with decent presence here at the point. Both takes are up, controlling space. They're so close, Bren. It's just a tiny little bit away. They're getting the kills they need. They're melting down Gigantti. Will they take this point and bring us to a final map 7? It's looking so close.
Gigantti still holding on. They got one more player, but they just got off the point. And Misfits, the reverse sweep dream is still alive here, ZP, alive and kicking. We're going to be going to map number 7, and look how happy they are. Swoosh, man, he's pleased with this. Everyone's smiling, whereas Gigantti, they're just looking finish.
And Swoosh, I mean, the emotion there is clear. He just has that thumbs up, and there's so much joy packed into one thumb there, Brian.
He really does. He loves it. He really loves it. But we're going to be going to map number 7. This is honestly incredible, the fact that they've managed to bring it to this point now. Misfits completely turning it around. Anubis wasn't as clear-cut as the other maps in terms of how Gigantti managed to take it. So I got to say, I'm very impressed with the way they have turned it around. The strategies they were employing did end up working, and it was actually really the downfall of Gigantti that ended up basically costing them that game with their defense. They just essentially, or the attack, I should say, they couldn't end up managing to secure that second checkpoint in the end.
All right, guys. Well, it is coming down to the wire. A Game 7 is going to be underway. We're going to get to it right after the break. We are back for the EU Contenders Finals, and Bren, this has lived up to the billing. What more could you ask for in the Grand Finals than one that went to a final, map number 7?
Couldn't be more perfect, realistically. I mean, Misfits have brought it back from the brink of defeat. Gigantti have been one map away from a victory here in this Grand Finals for quite a long time in this series, but now we're going to find out the next map, the final map here, and it's going to be Ilios that we're going to be going to. And Ilios is an interesting one. You see all sorts of compositions all over the time, and honestly, ZP, I don't know which way this game's going to be going.
I think if you look at the history, you still have to give Gigantti the advantage here because Misfits, they've looked shaky on control.
Yeah.
Desk brought it up. We saw it earlier today when we opened things up on Oasis, and for Misfits, they're going to have to find a gear on control that really they haven't had in the past 2 days.
This is it. It's all on the line in this last map of the EU Contenders Grand Finals. Make some noise, ladies and gentlemen, please. Misfits versus Gigantti. It's been brought all the way back now. We're seeing it. We've got a hell of a series on our hands. Opening up in wonderful Greece Ilios. Now, ZP, I asked you a couple of questions during the group stages. I asked you the $5,000 question. Would you live in the Greek wilderness for 5 years for $5,000? And you said no. How much money would you do it for?
Greek wilderness for 5 years. You know what? 5,001, Bren. You were $1 short.
5,001.
That $1 means all the difference.
Hey, you're getting ripped off here.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've realized, I don't know, you couldn't live off $1,000 a year.
Oh no, I would just assume that I would be just thieving off the land, Bren.
Okay.
I'd be a rogue.
I get you. I couldn't picture you as that, though.
It's fine. I would be the least effective thief ever. I'd probably, I'd be starving after a month. But Bren, it's underway.
Here we have it.
He's taking to the skies on the Pharah. Linkser going to be more on the ground here at the Genji. These projectile DPS facing off. And what is going to be the final map of what has been a great grand final here so far.
Here we have it. Now we're going to see Tavik on that Pharah again, and well as that one section where you do see a lot of Pharah gameplay, using that concussion blast to just knock the players into the middle section there, just try and get those environmental kills kicking. Gigantti eating a lot of chip damage, and the fact that Fraggy is caught out of position, he's got the heals available to him, lands on the bubble, but forced to leap away, forced to disengage. Still, the point will continue to be contested.
Point is being contested right now. Tavik sitting pretty here in the back. But while that goes on, Gigantti gets first control of the point. Misfits just let him take it. That they really might come to regret that there, Bren, as even if they win this fight, they're going to be down in progress. But Misfits, they're taking it slow.
They are indeed. The slow siege just to try and push into them, but already Shaz has built up a transcendence. He's going to be using it to try and keep his team alive. However, Gigantti are missing a few crucial players. Logix answers back the post bomb, going to be connecting down to Big Goose, finding a kill, and now it is once again just clean-up duty for them. Logic's going to be trying to get that final kill onto Shaz. Shaz was ready and waiting for him, but they are going to be able to flip this point over in favor to them, and now Misfits are in the driving seat. 2 defensive support ultimates. They got Marathon self-destruct. They got a whole host of capabilities for them to now win out this next team fight.
Misfits, if they play their ultimate economy well, which they haven't really done too much over the course of the series, they really should be able to bring this to at least 50%. They're working with an enormous advantage here. They don't need to blow everything. They have positioning edge. They have the pulse bomb on the Manitin. Will they get the D-Mech? Manitin's getting healed up, but no, they get the D-Mech as Tavik rains down justice from the back.
That's classic Tavik, straight off the back of it. Those very efficient barrage kills. He makes probably the most effective Pharah player when it comes to using those ultimates to get the most value out of them. As we've seen a lot of the times, he waits for the right opportunity to strike, and he knew Zapdos was out of the fight, so it wasn't going to get ate up by the defense matrix, and he just dove down into him. And now Misfits coming up close to 50% here for this first round on Ilios, the final map here in the EU Grand Finals. Gigantti are looking for an opportunity to come back into it. Linkser has his Dragon Blade.
There's the barrier. Where's the blade? Linkser going to the back. He holds the blade. He knew the Transcendence was up. Ooh. And whoa, a headshot shurikens from afar. 5v5. Blade still ready. It's an anti-air blade. Cuts Tavik down in the back. Beautiful stuff there from Linkser.
Linkser turning up, absolutely destroying the opposition, and now we're going to see the point flipped over once again in their favor. The reflect coming out. He wants to try and get this kill, and with the help of his team, definitely will. The resets as well. Manitin forced to run his little wheel on the score, but before he can even get there, again, executed by Linkser.
Linkser with some beautiful touches here, whether it be the anti-air Dragon Blade, the long-range shurikens. He is coming alive here on Ilios. 50% to 69. Gigantti with the advantage going to this next fight, and Davin, he's creeping. He wants to give Gigantti any advantage he can, and an early pulse bomb, that'd be the ticket.
He lays it down to the floor to try and avoid that defense matrix, but unfortunately, they don't actually find the targets that they were looking for. Now we see Davin to try and get that D-Meg onto Manaton. Zebasai also eating a decent amount of damage. In fact, Gigantti ends up committing their Transcendence to really win out this fight. And Misfits, off the back of losing so many players, they're forced out of this fight. They have to back off. Davin, the long-range kill onto Zupe. They're in control, ZP, 25% away from winning out this first round.
Gigantti, potentially one fight away now from taking the round and putting themselves on championship point. Misfits running into a must-win fight. Zupe's engagement here at the Transcendence will be vital as Tvik goes to the skies and goes to the back.
Big Goose going to be using that speed boost just to avoid the self-destruct. Now moves back into the fray. However, there was a D-Mech onto Zappis, and Logix, that's an opening for him. He brings down Linkser. Misfits are going to be able to really try and recapture this now. They haven't lost a single player for the time being. In fact, Tvik is also helping them out from above. Overtime ticking down as Gigantti are desperate to just stall this out for as long as they can. However, it will mean that Misfits are going to get this recap. They flip it back into their favor. 72% and counting now, and ultimates are coming up.
Because of the early picks and pressure that we saw from Logix, Misfits did not have to invest a Transcendence. That is a really big deal for what will be the final fight here coming up. Gigantti, they have to wait on this engage. That makes them more vulnerable to pickoffs as they try and give Big Goose time to get the barrier. It's important that Chaz gets his final 20% in the middle of the barrier, or it's not going to go up for Gigantti. As Misfits, they take the reins, they engage first.
Fire's going to be used, but the Samurai on top by both these teams to try and survive it. In fact, it was well, Zappis using that defense matrix just to survive, and Misfits winning this one out. 2 kills already. Linkser, he has to clutch big time with this blade. He finds the kills. The team is actually doing this now, wrecking the opposition. Misfits have lost absolutely everyone. The mid-air reflect just to top it off. A Gigantti with the overtime burning down. I didn't think it was doable, but they are going to be winning round number 1 on Ilios.
Linkser with some phenomenal deflections there towards the back, getting the key critical pickoffs when Gigantti needs it most. Ladies and gentlemen, Gigantti, they are on match point. Let's make some noise. Bren.
Match point. ZP, this is it. Do or die. We got 1 round and counting. This is it. It could be the difference. Gigantti are so close to winning out the grand finals here against Misfits. Misfits, reminder, the number 1 seed coming into this tournament, they only dropped 2 maps through the group stages. Not even 2 maps. Yeah, it was 2 maps, sorry. And now, coming into this, Gigantti, you know, the underdogs, so to speak, the 2nd seed coming into this tournament, into this one series that we're seeing in the grand finals. A lot of people thought it wasn't possible, but they are so close now. Only a single round is the difference.
Oh,
Linkser
again, devastating Tvik in the one-on-one matchup. He has had Tvik's number all day long, and no pickup there could have been more important as Gigantti rolls back onto the point and puts themselves in position for an early cap.
Try and contest it, but again, winning the 1v1. Logix is not there. The flashbang sent out. He might try and find a kill. Might get brought down here. In fact, the Tesla kind of the heals going through. Not quite enough to re-engage. The point was captured up by Gigantti, but they do have the bodies to try and turn this around into their favor. Now Zebasai falling quite low, has to back out, but Shaz is ready and waiting in the back lines, puts in the damage, and they are going to be holding on to it.
This is so big here for Gigantti. They not only hold off Misfits, they build up ultimates. Misfits sort of dashed in there staggering. It wasn't a great contest. Linkser has time to get back onto the point. They will be able to fully reset here. And also, Tvik is behind on building Dragon Blade. He swapped off of the Pharah, and momentum is important here. In control, Bren, is Gigantti. They're looking great.
Pulse bomb, does it stick? Not quite, not going to be finding the target once again, but Davin just putting them on edge for the time being, and now we see leaps away, self-destruct going to be initiated in by Misfits. They're looking for the options, but again, Linkser finds the kill onto Tvik. Openings being found all over the place, and with the Transcendence from Gigantti being committed, they're going to be surviving the next team fight. 50% Gigantti, and they've got ults here to use.
Tvik is going to be seeing Linkser in his nightmares if this keeps up. Pharah, Genji, it doesn't matter. He has been all over him, and Bren, Gigantti, 2 fights away, an advantage into this next fight. in the very beginning. And here comes the Deadeye.
Deadeye going to be committed here, but he's going to be wearing him out of the defense matrix. Now the Transcendence. He's forcing so many ults just from the threat of it already. Now going to be moving out as well. The Primal Rage on top of that with the sound barrier, but they've already lost the player. Zupe ends up going down, falling pretty early, but it's a 1-for-1 trade. Now, Misfits desperately trying to turn this one around. They've committed almost every ult they've got at their disposal. Vic though has the Dragon Blade. Now it's time to unleash it, but he does pull it out, but he gets taken down by Davin in the nick of time.
This has been huge for Gigantti. Now at 94%, 5% away from being your EU champions. Is it gonna be enough? They are so close right now, Bren. We're in overtime. No one from Misfits is on the point. Tick-tocking down. Gigantti, you are the champions.
Absolutely.
What a journey for Gigantti, Bren. To come so far, to be the underdogs, but show up in the live environment when they're needed most. Gotta give it up for them.
Absolutely magical, honestly. The performance from Gigantti has been spectacular.
All right, guys, Mr. X is going to be delivering the trophy for some well-deserving champions.
Thanks, CP and Bren, here with Zappis from Gigantti. You guys come in, it's a crazy series. What was the game plan going up against Misfits?
I don't know, just play our style. We know what Misfits has been doing for the past 2 weeks because we practice so much against them. And just focus on do our thing and just get it done.
Yeah, and then I know Linkser was phenomenal all series long. What is it like to play with a Genji player, just a DPS player who could do the things that he can do?
It's like so reliable. You can just always rely on him doing the stuff he does on Genji, and you only need to just make room for Linkser and just do it. Just do it.
Well, I'm gonna hand you this. Congrats to Gigantti, your Season 1 Contenders European champions. Go back to Puckett and the desk to break it all down.
Thank you so much, Mr. X. Big congratulations to Gigantti. They